Hello, welcome to another video. So in this video we will talk about cross join, right? So cross join matches every row of the first table with every row of the second table. Cross join matches every row of the first table with every row of the second table, right? So basically you are doing a multiplication of rows, right? But let's still get down. If the input tables have X and Y row, respectively, the resulting table will have X multiplied by Y row, what I just said, right? Because cross joins have the potential to generate extremely large tables, care must be taken to only use them when appropriate. So it's very important that you don't use cross joins when you have a lot of records, a lot of rows, right? Because you multiply rows, it brings a lot of, in fact, it has the potential to generate extremely large tables, right? You need to be very, very careful when you are using your cross joins. And also, cross joins don't have the on clauses, right? We'll be able to see that as everything is joined with everything. That's basically it. Everything is joined with everything. The first row matches with all the record of the second row. The second row of the first table matches with all the record of the second table, right? So everything matches with everything. Now, following is the syntax of cross join. Select column 1 from table 1, cross join table 2. So you're joining table 1 with table 2. You're joining all the records, right, from table 1 with table 2. So now let's look at like an example. So based on the employee and the department tables in the previous section, right, you can write a cross join as follows, right? So remember the table I said we'll be using, right, as we move down, the department table and then the employee table. So let's say we want to cross join those tables, right? We want to multiply the rows of or the records of each table, right? The syntax you're supposed to write is select employment ID column name. So basically all the columns, right, in our department table, because these are the columns. In fact, let me go. So we'll have that here. I think this is where we house that. So we'll see. Yeah, let's just copy this. So we'll have it in our page there. Go to my cross join, then I'll fix it. So let's have it here. So we want to do our cross join. Let me paste it here. Yes, we have it here, which is nice. So now we have this. Remember, we have our employee table, and this table contains this number of fields or columns, right? But in our department table, we have ID, department, and employee ID. So what we want to do is we want to be able to cross join these two tables in the essence or in the sense that this row where we have, or rather this row where we have employee name to be Paul, right? Paul would match with all the record or all the rows in our department table before he gets to Allen, right? So Allen will also appear in the results in all our departmental records before he gets to Mark or before he gets to Teddy. Then when he gets to Teddy, Teddy will also do that matching for every record in our department table before he gets to Mark, right? So that's basically it. So in that sense, you are multiplying all records. You're multiplying all rows. So let's see. So the syntax would be select employee ID, name, department, right? So if I say this, it means selecting employee ID, name. So name from where? Name from basically our employee table, right? And then our department. So our department name would be this, right? So from employee cross join department. So we don't have where we would say something like where are you joining using using s dot whatever employee ID, right, equal to maybe another table would be, let's say here we use E, which is our employee table, joining to D dot what's the common column, right? It's definitely employee ID. Between the two tables, what's the common column? So this is what we call on clause, right? When using cross join, we don't use it. We don't need the on clause, right? So you just join two tables, and when you type in your cross join, your SQL understands what you're trying to do, right? So close this. I think that's that. So now when you use your cross join between these two tables, or for these two tables, the result will give you this. Now let's check. Now looking at this table, right? Notice that for every record of Paul, where we have our employee name to be Paul, it matches with all the records of our department table, which is IT billing, engineering, and then finance. Remember, we wanted these columns to be in our results, right? So if you go again, then the next name that we have in our employee table is definitely Allen, right? So Allen, we match these three departments again, right? So we say Allen, Allen, Allen. So Allen IT billing, Allen engineering, Allen finance. We move to Teddy. Teddy will do the same thing, IT billing, engineering. So that's basically cross join, right? Cross join just does if you have Austin, you have in one table, I'm giving an example, you have Austin, you have Ima, and then you have in another table, you have bread, and then you have fish, and then you have egg. So when you cross join these two tables, let's say these are the columns in different tables, right? So when you cross join these two tables, your result will basically be Austin, right? Austin bread, right? Austin fish, right? Austin egg. Then it goes down to Ima bread, right? That's basically it. Ima again, fish. I'm sorry I'm using this word, maybe I'm hungry. Then Ima egg. That's basically what cross join does. So if you look at this, cross join has been able to join these two columns, right? But hey, the repetition, when it is Austin joins with all records of this, right? And then when it is Ima time, Ima joins with all records of this table. That's basically what we did here, right? That's what we did here. So Paul, which is the name that we wanted to see in our final results, Paul matched these three records, and then we moved to Allen. Allen matched these three records. Mark did the same thing, David did the same thing, Kim did the same thing, and then James did the same thing. Right, looking at the result, that's what we have here. Right, James appeared 3 times because it's matching with 3 times of your other table. So that's basically it. So now let's just try one example, right, on our SQLite DBMS. So SQL join, so we are looking at cross join. So let's go. So let's say we want to write a query. Now list all possible products. So basically what this means is we want to be able to get genres and media type. Yeah, so we'll look at this table so we'll understand what we are trying to do. Media type. So let's try to see our genres table. Go to browse data, genre. So let's see. So we just have our genre ID and then the genre name, right? The name of our track or our record, the name of the genre of our the genre type name, right? So if you have a music, what is the genre of that music? So that is where we have our name, right? So let's look at our media type. So the same thing, right? Our media ID and then the name. So we want to know what our track is, what the file is, right? We want to see what the file type is, whether it's an MPEG or it's an MPEG audio file or it's an AAC audio file, whether it's a protected MPEG 4 video file, right? So the goal is we want to be able to have that possible combination of our genres and then our media table, right, using cross join. So we just want to depict this so that everybody will understand how cross join works on SQLite. Right, so for we to do that, we'll write our query. Just select, right, select. So remember that I first of all looked at these two tables to understand the columns that are in these tables. Very important. Right? So select. The only thing that we are interested in is our name column, right, in our genre table. So select name. Right, so where is name located? Or let's leave it to you guys. I would explain something. So select name. Next thing is I'm selecting in my media type table. I think what we had in our media type is name as well. You see? So now if I do select name, right, and I do from, remember our syntax, guys. Remember what we are trying to do. We are trying to cross join two tables, right? So remember our syntax. Select whatever column you want in your final result from what table? Your first table. So my first table will be from genre, right? From genre table. Remember our syntax again. Let's go. From genre, cross join department, right? Crossing join the second table. So come and we'll say cross join. Cross join. The second table should be media type. Yeah, this is it, right? So remember, we don't have an on clause, right? So we can also write this, or we can run this. Let's see. But now the problem with this is, let's say you have a lot of columns, right, in genre table and then in media type table that has names, right? So it will be confused. SQL will be confused. What name do you want me to bring out? Is it the name in my genre table or is it the name in my media type table? Let's see if we run this. Let's see if we drop an error. Let's see. Yes. So you see, exactly. It's saying line 7, which is this, right? It's saying ambiguous column name, right? Name, select name. Let me see the reason. Yeah, ambiguous column name. So it's trying to understand what name, what column do you actually want out? Because I also have name in my genre column. I also have name in my media type column. So in that sense, we will use what we've been using, right? Alias to depict our table name. So as we can call this as G, right? Then we can call this table as M, right? So in that sense, so for we to depict that, okay, we want the name in our genre table to show, we'll come here and say, okay, G dot name, right? Because we tagged our genre table to be G, we'll come here and tag M dot name, right? That is that. So once I run this, let's see now, right? So he understands that, okay, you actually want the name in our genre table to show and then the name in our media type table, or rather column, to show, right? But in this sense, because we have name, it's quite confusing. I'll just do here again. I'll use another alias as genre, right? Let's make this quotes as genre. And then we'll come here and say as what? As media type. Yes, I think that's that. So once we do the same thing again, watch. Yes. So now notice that we have a lot of repetitions of our genre rock, because what it does is, since we know that we have one genre called rock, and we know that we have 5 rows in our media type, it goes and it connects with the 5 rows before it moves to jazz. Right? What I mean is, if you go to my media type, we just have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records, right? But if you go to your genre, you have how many records? Close to 25, right? 25 records, not even close. 25 records. So before, when you use your cross join, Rock would definitely go into your 5 records of your media type, right? Joins it, and then before it moves to Jazz, Jazz will join the 5 types in your media table. It goes and joins everything, and then it moves to Metal, right? That's basically what we did here, right? And if you check, Rock goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Media type table. Then it moves to Jazz. Jazz does the same thing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it moves to Metal, right? That's basically. And what you would understand is that because we said your cross join is, remember what we said? We said that our cross join is, the resulting table is always when you have X multiplied by Y row, right? Your X table multiplied by your Y table in terms of their rows, right? The number of rows in your X table multiplies with the number of rows in your Y table. So if we want to depict that, we can say, okay, I want to let's try something. Remember that our result here is telling us we have a total of 125 rows, right? So let's try and confirm and say, okay, I want to select everything, right, from January table, right, and then select everything from our media type table. Yeah, let's see. So if we run this, take notes, guys. If we run this, we only have 25 rows returned, right? For the January table, we just have 25 records. If we join this, if we run this, let's see the number of rows. So we have only 5, right? So remember the comment, X multiplied by Y table. So if I do 25 multiplied by 5 in terms of our record, 25 rows multiplied by 5 rows, it means we definitely have this, what we did here after using our cross join, 125 rows, right? So that's basically cross joins, right? So cross join helps to multiply rows, right? Cross join joins 2 tables and then increase the number of rows, right? That's basically what cross join does. But it should be noted that it's very, very important that you are careful when using your cross joins, right? Because it leads to larger data sets. So we've been able to see example of cross join, and then we've been able to explain cross join in at least in detail, right? So I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.